Hello, everybody! I'm so excited! It's cocktail chat time. This is my first Facebook Live podcast. Oh, I need my recorder. Will you grab my recorder from the other? It's by the chair. Celine! Hi, Leslie. Hi, Barbara. How are you guys? Hi, Gabrielle. Welcome, everybody. So excited to be with you all. Hi, Claudia. We are having a fabulous time in Paris. It's amazing. So grateful. And hi, Anna. Claudia, you've got it. I don't know what you've got, but I'm glad you've got it. I've got my recorder. You can sense my excitement. Yes, I'm excited. Super, super. Hey, Sarah. Hey, everybody. Hi, Barbara. So happy you're all here. Thanks for joining me live. I'm really grateful. This is my first foray into podcasting via Facebook Live. I've been doing radio shows for I don't know, a long time, 5-6 years every week, and wanted to do something different. People arriving. This is fun. Hi, Susan. This is so fun. I'm having like pictures taken, and people are arriving for the Creation of Living class. So I'm really psyched. And I'm actually, before I start recording the podcast, I'm going to make a cocktail because this is a cocktail chat. So yeah. I'm really excited to be here with you all and to be playing with these conversations. Creating Beyond Reality has been my, will I go on YouTube? Alan, I have discovered that I have to have 1,000 subscribers. Thank you for asking. I have to have 1,000 subscribers to my channel to be able to do a YouTube live. So please subscribe to my channel so I can do YouTube live as well. It's Heather K. Nichols. If you search on YouTube for Heather K. Nichols, you'll find it. And you can also find it from my website, heathernichols.com. And she, like, you guys are, she's welcome to, if they're not talking, they're welcome to come in. So subscribe to me. Yay, thanks, Ellen. Awesome. Yeah, I was like, we could probably create 1,000 subscribers by tonight. Yay! I mean, I think I already have like 300, so let's just triple it by tonight. Why not? Spread the word, people. And actually, if you want to share my channel on Facebook and stuff, that would be awesome. I would really appreciate that because I think it's so fun to be able to do a live video on 2 platforms at the same time and record a podcast. It's like a humanoid's dream, So some of you guys have joined me before for cocktail chats. We have actually a group, a Facebook group. It's called Creation of Living, and it's also the name of a class that's starting in Paris tonight. And we are going to be for a couple years now. I've done off and on. Sue, thank you, honey. I've done cocktail chats. In this Creation of Living group where I actually, make a cocktail, whip it up, shake it up, and drink it with y'all. And then we chat about consciousness and creation and play and the joy of living, really. And the creation of living, which to me is such an incredibly fun topic. And we're also diving in this weekend in Paris to a 2.5-day Creation of Living class. Where we're going to be really exploring all kinds of energies. And to me, this is really about our bodies and the enjoyment of life and living and the luxury and the beauty of it all. And like how that is actually an energy that dynamically expands everything that we create, our capacity and willingness to receive, and the way that we show up in the world and how dynamically we can change the world. So I really love this conversation. I'm grateful. So this is like, it's like a quintuple humanoid dream because We have a class starting. We have a new podcast. I was going to be broadcasting live on 2 platforms, but I'm not. And I'm recording a podcast to put up on Podbean. And I love multitasking. So I'm doing like 10 things right now. And I'm going to make a cocktail too. So how does it get better than that? There's some ladies in the room with me. Melika and Eva. And there's some other ladies that were and will be in the room. And we have this, I'll maybe show you, I don't know, we'll see. My phone has to be plugged in right now, but we're in this stunningly beautiful apartment in Paris on the Champs-Élysées. And so excited. So we're gonna make a cocktail because that's what we do in cocktail chats. And once a month, on the show, on the Creating Beyond Reality, we will do a cocktail chat, and I'll give you alcoholic and non-alcoholic options because you don't have to drink to have a cocktail. You don't have to drink alcohol to have a cocktail. Can you put a couple, 3 cubes of ice in there? So we got the shaker. Eva's going to be my little assistant. This is so fun. I'm like having a cooking show. I've never had an assistant for a cocktail chat before. This is awesome. We have we had to search all over Paris for ice cubes because I actually did kind of know this. Americans love their ice. And we're kind of the only people in the world that do. So you can buy bags of ice anywhere in the United States. But in Paris, you have to call and Uber and wait a half an hour for them to open, Yeah. So Eva was quite phenomenal getting the ice. And we have these ginormous ice cubes. So I have my shaker. I love this shaker. It's my little fancy shaker. And because I love gin, we're doing gin. I know you guys in the US and in Australia, it's like morning, but it's 6 p.m. here in Paris, so it's time for a cocktail. And it can be time for a cocktail in the morning too. So we got some gin. I always like getting, new and different, liquors when I'm out in the world, ooh, what kind of gin do they have in Paris? Let's see, you can discover some fun stuff. And I brought my cocktail making thingies with me because that's what you do when you do cocktail chats. I knew the apartment would not have a shaker, and they do have shot glasses actually. But so anyway, I'm gonna pour. This is 2 ounces, and this is 1 ounce. Which who else in the world knows what ounces are? But in the U.S., that's what we do, ounces, because we like to be different. So a shot, this is a little more than a typical shot is 1.5 ounces. So I'm going to do 2 ounces of gin. Now, I found some rose liqueur. Now, if you guys have watched my cocktail chats before, you know that I love my gin and flowers. I'm probably writing a cookbook called Gin and Flowers because I love gin with flowers in it of any kind. I also brought with me from home lavender liqueur, which is amazing. Excuse me. I might actually. Do I want lavender or rose? I'm gonna do the rose. Okay, so now I think I'm gonna do 2 ounces of rose. We just kind of started working with this recipe, so I don't know. We'll see. It was okay before, but the deal is, that rose liqueur is almost gone. The deal is that this is what I do with cocktails. This is a great kind of formula, is to do a spirit. So you got tequila or vodka or gin or whatever. I'm a connoisseur. I am totally a connoisseur. So you do your spirit, you pick what spirit you want, and you might mix a bunch of different spirits. People do that for sure. But the kind of an easy formula is a spirit, something sweet if you like it sweet, and a little flavor, and then sour. Those 3 components go into a cocktail, and you can play with it. And some people make martinis that don't have anything sweet, and they're all alcohol and olive juice, and that can be good too. If you want something really stiff. Hedonist, yes, definitely. Now I'm gonna get some. I have some apricot. Maybe I'll try. No, I'm gonna do apricot. No, wait. I'm going to do passion. I'm going to do grapefruit. I'm going to do grapefruit rose. I got some fun juices. I love going to the grocery store and just playing. So this is pamplemousse, because that sounds way more fun than grapefruit, but it's the same thing. Pamplemousse, rose, juice. So I'm gonna put an ounce in here, because pamplemousse, it's strong, you know, adds some bitterness, you know. So we're gonna do that. I'm gonna do a little lime juice. The lovely Melika juiced a lot of limes for us earlier, so we have lime juice. And do like an ounce of that. And then one thing that I love to put in my cocktails is rind. And I really wish we, oh, do you know what we have? Will you go get me one of the kumquats? Oh yeah. I was just gonna say, I wish we had oranges, because orange rind is a really fun thing to put in cocktails. Rind gives drinks this like brightness. It takes the flavor and it goes, wah! It makes it just like sing. And so I have kumquats because we're eating kumquats. And if you've never had a kumquat, you need to have a kumquat. And you just take the entire thing and you put it in your mouth and you chew it. Because the inside, the citrusy part, is really sour. And the rind is actually sweet and really aromatic. Actually, it's quite floral in a way. So we're gonna put kumquat rind because we can, you know, why not? And I have a little thingy here. So you guys in the future, one thing that I'm excited to do, because people love these cocktail chats, and I just thought it would be fun to do like once a month to do one, and you know, we'll start diving into some fun stuff too. Consciousness talk. We'll get serious in a minute here. Just kidding. But one of the things that it's not really grating. I've never tried to grate kumquat before. This is like, I was going to have this like all figured out with you guys, but I don't, which is a lesson in creation. You don't have to have it all figured out ever. So we're just sort of making a mess of the kumquat at this point. Let's see if we can get some of that in there. So you don't ever have to have it figured out, because I'm just sticking my finger in it now. I'm getting like really gross here. So you can't see it though, but I did tell you because I don't care. Where's the lemon?
Lemon.
Yeah.
Lemon juice or lemon?
Rind. Yeah. Or I can put lime. I'll do lime. So we're gonna do lime instead. Yeah, we don't need to be serious about anything. It's okay. I don't even know what I was saying. Oh, I know. We're gonna do these once a month, and we're going to start at some point when we get organized, you know, and when we're like doing it perfect. Ha ha ha. We're gonna start sharing the recipe with you guys like in advance. Exactly, Claudia, you're psychic. She just wrote that. Maybe you could give us the recipe beforehand so that it can go viral over this planet, and we'll all have the same. I know. You are a smart lady, Claudia. Yes, that was our thinking too. So we're going to give you the recipe in advance. You can, you know, sometimes you can't really buy the ingredient. I mean, the ingredients are so different all over the world, but you know, but you can like play with it. It's all just play. And then we could all have a drink together, you know? And with this, like Alan is in, yay! And the thing is, when I'm home, I want to like travel with my bar, because I have some really ridiculous stuff. I have like white pine bitters and like orange licorice bitters and gin that's been aged in oak barrels, so it tastes kind of like whiskey, but it's gin. It's called Ginski. I have some really good stuff at home. I didn't bring it with me. I brought the lavender though. So anyway, we'll play. This is just the first. You'll find them like you showed up in my universe. Exactly. So we're gonna shake it. And the thing is, these shakers, what I love about these, if you've never used one before, they make it really cold. And you know what I like to do is I like to also
fresh one?
Yeah, and when you put some ice in it?
Yeah.
So I like to also put fresh ice in the glass and pour it, because with the shaker, with this one, you push the button here and it pours it out, and the ice, you know. But other shakers, you just pour it through like a strainer, and it actually, it pours it off the ice. But so it's cold, and you're putting on more ice. Because remember what I said? We Americans, we like our ice. We like our drinks cold, especially in the summertime. Or if you're doing a martini, you just, because this could be a martini too. I put it in a martini glass, but I have it in a rocks glass. And I'm going to add a little bit of bubbly water, soda water, which also we have discovered is a very American thing. They only have mineral water in Europe, but I would recommend club soda because mineral water has a flavor to it, but we're good. Somehow I turned the oven on and there's shit on top of it, so we'll handle that. Okay, so yes, Michelle is putting a thing down there. Sign up for the podcast and the cocktail chat news. If you go to my website, heathernichols.com/podcast, that's where all the podcasts will live and the recordings, and also where you can you'll be on my news. If you already get my emails, you're already signed up. But you'll get, updates about upcoming podcasts if you want to get recipes and stuff like that. Now, if you want to make this non-alcoholic, just put some find some grapefruit rose juice. But you could do like grapefruit juice. You could get rose simple syrup, lime juice and bubbly water, a little rind. Let's see how it is. Ooh, this is good. You guys want to taste it? And it's pink. I mean, pink cocktails are just good because they're pink. I like that better than the last one. Yeah, huh? Oh, I gave you guys the recipe if you want to make it while I'm doing the podcast. Yeah. Cool. Can you give me the towel? All right, so we're gonna go in the other room now, and we're gonna get serious now. We're gonna talk about what your asks are, because it's a fun conversation. I'm gonna unplug here.
And I bring the power.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I did not prepare in a lot of ways, and my phone was like almost dead. So Ava is gonna be my power lady, my power source. We're gonna come in here. Here's some more ladies. Hello. And we have a beautiful spread. We have like marzipan and patisserie and all kinds of stuff, and more stuff later that's coming out. Hi, I'm so glad you're here. Okay, so our topic, now that I have a drink, you guys, hopefully you made one while I was talking, even if it's morning time, make a Bloody Mary, or just have some grapefruit juice with me, Oh my God, this is awesome. I have these beautiful ladies, like, totally taking care of me. Thanks, you guys. So let's talk about what are your asks. And I am going to record this. Okay, so welcome to Creating Beyond Reality. We're in the middle of a cocktail chat, and just made some cocktails, and we are now going to play with the topic of the day, of the week, which is, what are you asking for? I am so excited about this conversation, actually, and so we're at the beginning of a creation of living class here in Paris, so the creation of living actually is an energy, really, like energies that bounded into my world years ago when I was just basically asking a lot, like, what is it that I truly would like to see in the world? What do I know about what's possible? What would I like to bring to the world? And this thing started to bubble up, and this is you can just sort of also, this is how creation works, is just to actually get the energy of something, and you may not know what it is. But you can just start asking, and you can start talking to the energies of things that are kind of showing themselves in your world and revealing themselves to you, and start to get more information and more awareness. And so that's what I did. It was like, okay, so I know there's things that I would like to bring to the world, conversations that I'd like to have in the world. Hi, Jane. And it was like, okay, so what is that? And I knew it had a lot to do with bodies and embodiment and the joy of being alive and the joy of moving our bodies and living. And so Creation of Living was born. We have a Facebook group. You can search Creation of Living on Facebook if you want to join and be part of it. And I've done some, telecalls and energy pulls and stuff that have been part of this conversation in the past. And this weekend, this is our first live class. It asked to be a live class. And here we are in Paris. And one of the questions that we started this class with was actually a question that Simone Milasas asked me, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago. And that was, if you, it was basically like, what have you decided? No, what would you truly like to receive that you've never dared to ask for? What would you truly like to receive that you've never dared to ask for? And I was like, whoa. I mean, I ask for a lot of things. I create a lot of things. I receive a lot of things. And I was like, holy shit, that's kind of a big question. And it really sent me reeling, actually. And I was like, wow, okay. And that question has been really central to this class, I would say Creation of Living in general, and this class here in Paris. To me, that's the question that kind of is the starting point for this class. And we are about to start the class in, 45 minutes or half an hour or something like that. And so I started looking at it, and it was like, wow, there's so many things actually that I don't dare to ask for. There's so many things that I would like to receive. Jane says that gives me a blank. Yeah. It might give you a blank. And the thing about blank is sometimes blank is actually really awesome, because you can't actually define. There may be an energy there that you can't define. And that's really cool, because if you can't define it, then you can't confine it. When you define, you confine. You limit something when you define it. And so, if it's so, you may perceive it as a blank, and then you may just want to keep going and just keep playing with it. I've had a lot of blanks in my life that have turned into, eventually these energies start to reveal themselves and kind of become something, or become something even really quite huge. Some really big creations have started with blank. So blank isn't wrong. It's not bad. It's not nothing. It's definitely not nothing. The energies of creation and the generative energies of creation are very subtle, and they just sort of like barely, sort of introduce themselves into our worlds with a whisper a lot of the times, or a sense of blank. And that's, it's like, okay, now what? Now what else can you ask? And the thing is that we both don't know we don't need to know what to ask for, or what we are, like, we don't need to know what to ask for in order to ask for it. Because you could be like, oh, whatever that energy is, I'll have that. Like, so when you go, let me ask this question again, and you guys notice what happens when I ask you this. What would you truly like to receive that you've decided that you can't have, or that you've never dared to ask for? That you've never dared to ask for. What would you truly like to receive that you've decided, we're going to add this down, that you've decided that you can't have, or that you've never dared to ask for? And just notice what comes up in your world with that. And as you do, that's your starting point, you know? And the cool thing about this is like, you can look at that question and you can be like, oh, fuck, you know, that could be like a problem, you know? You could look at that question and be like, oh my gosh, like there's so many things. I can't believe it. This is so awful, you know? And you can also look at that question and go, oh, wow, that's amazing. There's so many things I've never asked for, you know? And in that moment, you can start asking. And this is something we do a lot, where we actually, we see, you know, something that hasn't been there. Having a chauffeur, I love it. Living in a castle or a mansion, that's awesome, Claudia. But we see, you know, we see something that hasn't been, that's been sort of like lacking or whatever, and we immediately go to problem. But what if you could immediately go to, that is so cool. Now I have this awareness. Now I'm gonna start asking right now. You can start asking right now. Because the thing about asking and creation is that ask and receive is how creation works if you are willing to be. So that's can be a big missing piece, because everybody's like, yes, ask and receive. It's such a great idea, you know. But if you're not willing to be, it doesn't work. And there's a lot that could be said about that. I mean, there's entire classes. You know, Dane here does 3.5-day classes. The Being You facilitators, of which I am one, we do 2.5-day classes. We do 1-day classes, Being You classes, Being You Changing the World. And I would say for me, every class is a Being You class, because that is one of the most kind of primary and critical, in a way, energies for creation and for just having a different possibility on the planet is being. And a very just a conversation that really doesn't ever happen, you know, in the way that we have access to with the Access Consciousness tools. And so it's, you know, we can we can play with some of it here. And I would encourage you to keep going. Being You rocks. I know it does. I love Being You so much. I love Being You classes. Being You classes change so much, because the more that you be, the more you receive, and then the more you get to have and create and ask for, and it's like this total. To me, it's like going to the crux of why we're stopping ourselves. You know, is when we choose to be more of us, be more. But ask and receive. I'm a tangential kind of girl. I like to wind my way through these conversations. Sometimes I come back, sometimes I don't, you know. So if I lose a train of thought, just, you know, you can let me know. But ask and receive is how creation works. It is how the universe works, if you're willing to be. And so when you all of a sudden perceive, oh my gosh, I haven't been asking for it might be things that you can name, like Claudia was like, living in a mansion, living in a castle, having a chauffeur. And there may be some of you guys that are like, that doesn't sound good to me, you know. So there's you know, there's no right or wrong to this at all, because everybody has a different desire and request and being and all of that. But when you recognize that you can just simply start asking for something that you weren't, something even big that you weren't asking for a while ago, you know, or yesterday or this morning or whatever, when you recognize that you can just start asking for it, and you just start asking for it, and you don't have a point of view that you have to work for it, and you don't have a point of view that it's going to be hard, and you don't have a point of view that you have to roll up your sleeves, and now I'm going to like really have to work on this. I'm going to have to really work on myself. I'm going to have to like work really hard so that I can make this happen, you know. When you just go, oh, cool, now I'm asking for it, then you're rolling, you're cruising. And this is how the speed of creation can actually work. And this is how the universe works. You know, the universe is like, cool, let's do that, shall we? You know, the universe doesn't have a point of view. You do.
That's it.
You do. And that's the other thing, is when you're being you, you don't have a point of view. because you as a being don't actually have judgments or points of view. You just be. And being is very dynamic too. There's a lot I could say about that. But so start asking if you would like these things that you haven't been asking for. Just start asking. And one of the things is like, and so and the thing that's so cool, I find this so fascinating, is like when we ask for something, we literally set the universe in motion on our behalf, in sort of like in collaboration and co-creation with our asks. And then things start to change, because the quantum entanglements of the universe are like rearranging things now. Like, okay, well, let's move this over here and move this over here and move this over here and change this and working on, sort of getting you what you've asked for. And you're part of it. It's not like the universe is now going to just deliver, while you sit on your velvet settee,
Too bad.
Although we do have velvet settees here, and I have a feeling the universe is going to deliver while we sit on our velvet settees this weekend. But we'll probably be, like changing some stuff, so stepping into being more. But you can't just sit there and not do anything, Being is a very dynamic space. It's a very active space. It's an engaged space. You're doing when you're being. You do from being. And that's the most dynamic, active, engagement that there is. And so when we have these requests and we're willing to adjust with the universe, because the universe is rearranging things on your behalf, but you are part of that. So you're going to get rearranged, and you have to choose to rearrange yourself to have what it is that you're asking for. But that's cool, to me, that's like part of the adventure of living and the creation of living, which is just, okay, great. Like, who am I today, and what grand and glorious adventures can I have today? And showing up for that, for the play of that, being willing to be inconceivable, undefinable, undefined, being willing to have levels of joy that other people don't have on the planet, being willing to, recognize that there are things going on energetically that other people are not aware of and never will be. Being willing to play with magic, being willing to be a walking miracle. All of these things are, when you have the willingness for that, then you get to receive truly what is actually available to us as we be, and from these asks that we make. Now, another piece of this conversation of what are you asking for that I wanted to touch on too is also like, there are things sometimes that we're asking for that we don't actually realize or acknowledge that we're asking for. And when you don't acknowledge something, it basically doesn't exist. This is one of my favorite quotes from Dane Hare, who wrote the Being You Changing the World book. What you don't acknowledge doesn't exist. So if you're asking for something and you're not acknowledging that you're asking it, because we ask for things all the time kind of unconsciously. So there's the unconscious aspect of what we're asking for, where we're like, oh shit, just kidding, And then there's also the things that we're asking for that are generative that we don't realize that we're asking for. And so you want to be aware of what you're asking for, both from that generative, like, oh, what is my being asking for? Like, what have I been asking for that I'm really not acknowledging? Because as soon as you begin to acknowledge it, you're adding the beauty of your energy to it, and it begins to expand and expand more and expand more and more and more, and come alive. When we add our energies to things is when creation really takes off and occurs and comes alive. When we bring our body to the conversation, when we bring the willingness to receive and the sexualness that we be, and like the joy of living, it's like all of those energies exponentialize everything. And so when you start to acknowledge what you're actually asking for, you begin to exponentialize the creation of it. It's the creation of it just starts to go and go and go and expand and expand and expand and expand and expand. It's kind of magical, kind of easy, just warning you. Might be a little too much ease. But it's this, there's this whole universe of energetic play and energetic creation that we don't realize is actually where, in a way, we're going to kind of get the most bang for our buck with what we're creating and what we're asking for, is because there's this energetic world where everything comes from. We call it, part of it is the elementals. We talk about in Access Consciousness, the elementals, the engagement of the elementals. The elementals are these energetic building blocks of creation, kind of like how the periodic table of the elements. I'm not recording this, but I guess we'll pull the audio. I just noticed that my thingy was off. The ADD, ADHD, OCD, autism, Tourette's, all kinds of things. What is it? Cocktails. I haven't even, hold on, I have to take, maybe this will help. I haven't even gotten to enjoy my beautiful pink beverage. I've been talking so much. It's really good. So anyway, so the elementals are the energetic building blocks of creation. And they are unseen, undefined, and unacknowledged, largely unacknowledged. But they are the energies that when we actually engage with them. And how do you engage with the elementals? You just ask. Again, oh my God, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. It's a lot easier than you've been making it, than we've been making it, because I'm including myself too in that. But what you got to do to engage the elementals? Just ask. What engagement of the elementals can I be? And again, being. Notice being. What engagement of the elementals can I be? You ask, your energy starts to change. The energy, space, and consciousness of you changes. Energy, space, and consciousness is also the energetic building block of creation. And we be a particular energy, space, and consciousness, that's going to affect things, showing up in a certain way in our lives. So ask to engage the elementals to actually create what it is that you're asking for. And also and then begin to play with this, like the energetic awareness, like when Jane said, this feels blank, it's like, is it? And then you can just go, is this blank? Or is this actually so subtle? Or is this creation? Or is this generative energies, because oftentimes it's the generative energies that they don't have a solidity to them, and we're playing a lot of times with the creation of a future. The creation of the future doesn't have any solidity to it. We can't define it. And so, and you can't, and we've had all these conversations lately about pictures, and creating with pictures, and how that's such a limitation. When we create with like images in our head and pictures, it really defines and limits what we can create. And I'm not going to go into that. Maybe we'll do that on another podcast. But I'm going to tease you now. We're going to talk about it tonight in the class. So you can come and join us. I'm going to be mean. No, you can come and join us actually tonight if you want to join us after this on Zoom. You could talk to us. You could talk with us. You could be kind of in the room. If I try to give you a sip of my cocktail, I'll get my computer wet. So I'm not going to do that. But, otherwise, you'll kind of be here. So when I'm done here is when the class starts. I'll give you more information about that in a minute. But I don't even know where I was going with that. Where was I going with that?
The energy, the solidity, the future has you can't define on the images.
Yeah. Oh, the pictures, yeah. Because when we see an image or a picture of something, we literally are like projecting this onto. We have this huge screen back here. This is our TV. It's this ginormous wall. Sure, it's like you can't even. I have to do this to see the edges of it. This is our TV. We're not like TV people, but I just think we have to watch a movie just because. And we have to watch Avatar on that thing or something. Yes. Yeah. Run bars and Avatar night. Yes. Okay, we're in. And so pictures. So that would be a fun picture. But what we do is we define. Because remember what I said: when you define something, you confine it. So when you define the picture of what it is that you would like to have or what you're asking for, you confine it. It can only show up like that. And the universe might be like, well, how about if, I know you asked for like a red Ferrari, but how about like a, whatever, like a white Lambo, or there's one outside of our window. We're on the Champs-Élysées in Paris, which is actually like so touristy, but it's fun. The Arc de Triomphe is like right there. It's awesome. Anyway, love Paris. But yeah, it might be like, oh, I like to go. I have a tropical vacation in Hawaii or something, And the universe is like, well, how about instead of going to Hawaii for 2 weeks, you go to Fiji for a year, I'm like, that would be terrible, How about instead of $100,000, I bring you like, $5 million, So, and how about instead of like this kind of a world, we create this kind of a world, So it can be all levels of asks, because a lot of us really have asks for a different world. And of course, our like tangible asks are part of that. The knowing that we have the capacity to create anything, that's part of a much greater world. And a lot of times we sort of poo-poo that. We're like, oh, but that's just a like simple little money request, But no, that's actually part of the world becoming a greater place. I would love to see conscious and kind and amazing people have the majority of the wealth on the planet. Althea, hi honey. So happy you're here. So I'm going on and on, but I guess really what I wanted to say about this topic of what are you asking for is both recognize what you're not, well, both. I'm probably going to say 5 things right now. So scratch that word. Is recognizing what you have not been willing to ask for and what you actually desire. And that can be an edgy conversation. I gotta say, when I started having that conversation with myself, I was like, holy fuck. But like I said, okay, get over it and start asking, or start wondering, because you may not even know. You may be like, I have no idea. Like, and it could be also the blank, that is just this like sense of possibility. So what would you really like to receive that you haven't been willing to ask for? And then also, like we were just talking about, like acknowledging what it is that you have been asking for. Because as soon as you bring acknowledgement is an incredibly nurturing energy. We just finished this 30-day series of energy pulls called Acknowledge 30 Days of Nurturing Fruition. And it really is you nurture things to fruition when you acknowledge them. And that's like a huge, I'm going to do another sales pitch. Buy those pulls. They were fucking phenomenal. They were so phenomenal. So phenomenal. I mean, I can't even say enough about it, but we really did spend 30 days acknowledging things to fruition and like diving into some really incredible spaces. So those are in my shop. Actually, they may not even be in my shop, but you can go to heathernichols.com/acknowledge and you can find them there. I don't think we've like turned them into a shop product yet. So yeah, acknowledging is nurturing. So acknowledging, like nurturing your asks by acknowledging them and adding your energy so that you recognize this is actually like, I am actually giving life to these creations and these asks. I love the question, what are you asking for and not acknowledging? Because all you got to do, again, is ask that. What am I asking for and not acknowledging? And you don't have to know. None of this is cognitive. You don't have to know. All you got to do is just go, okay, cool. Well, I wonder what that is. And let the universe show you. Let yourself discover and find out. What am I asking for and not acknowledging? And what are you asking for? And so there's like I said, the generative pieces of that. And then there's, what are you asking for and not acknowledging? that you're asking for that is actually potentially a destruction of what it is that you're asking to create, that you would actually like to create, you know, because sometimes, like I said, we're unconsciously asking for things that we don't realize that we're asking for. And when you get that, it's like, ooh, okay, cool. I might want to actually change my asks and upgrade my asks, or, you know, get rid of some of the asks that were unconscious asks that I didn't know were occurring. And being the energy of that, Claudia, that's awesome. And so really just start to play with this, like, because I was looking at this last night and I was like, oh my gosh, I mean, there's so many things that I haven't been asking for. So many things. And even things that I do ask for kind of sometimes. But sometimes when you ask for something, it's just sort of a done deal and it's in the works, kind of on its way or whatever. And sometimes there's that staying with the ask for what it is that you'd like to have. That, Carmen, hi. Yes, it never shows up the way you think or have pictured. Absolutely, Alan. Absolutely. But you know, it's an amazing, like, when we really get present with it, it's like, so think of something right now that you would really, really like to have. Think of something that you, not just a space and an energy, but actually like something that you could name that you'd really like to have. Alan says, I've been killing lots of creations of things I've asked for. Yeah, well, cool. Everything that is, will you destroy it uncreated? Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, puck, pod, shorts, boys and beyonds. And if you don't know what that is, that's the access consciousness clearing statement that just is like a delete button. Our magic tool, one of our many magic tools. So get the energy, think of something that you have not been willing to, will you bring me my computer? Okay. That you haven't, the class is apparently starting. I'm bad with time. So I gotta go in a second, but something that you would like to have. Now, how much have you actually been asking for it? A lot, a little, not at all, you know? And perhaps it's time to be a little more present with it, you know, ask a little bit more, ask different, ask more dynamically, you know, just like be more present with it. Because sometimes, like I said, some asks, it's like, yeah, done deal. And some asks are actually, do I have 7 minutes still?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I was going to turn the Zoom on because I'm a multitasker, but we don't need to. So just start to look at that and start to wonder, you know, what else could I be asking for that would nurture? So what else can I be asking for, and what else can I acknowledge that would nurture this to fruition? And everything that doesn't allow you to be, know, perceive, and receive that, we destroy and uncreate it. Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pop, five, shirts, boys and beyonds. Cool. You got me, Althea says. I love it. Yeah, cool. But how awesome is this? Like, that's the amazing thing about this stuff, is it never ends. It never stops. It never ends. You never get to a finished point, you know, a finishing point, a point of, you know, where you're done. You never get there. We just keep going. There's new tools all the time. There's new questions all the time. There's new awarenesses all the time, new spaces of being all the time. So it's a journey. It's an adventure of living and the creation of living that, you know, what if you really, really, really didn't have to get anywhere ever? Because you can't. So you're off the hook. Let's just play. Let's play, shall we? And that feels like a really great place to start the creation of living class from, and you know, stop the podcast, and that would be boring to finish. I know, right? Yeah. So if you guys want to come and play and chat with us and add your energy and, you know, have a conversation more about this and probably a lot of other things, we're going to dive into some pieces with the body as well. We will be on Zoom in about 4 minutes. And you can join us for the evening of this class, Creation of Living. And if you go to heathernichols.com/COL kickoff, I think I got the link right this time, and you sign up, it's $75 for the 2-hour class, and you'll get the link in your email like right away, and you can just click it and be in the room, minus the cocktails and the hugs, foot rubs, whatever, so thank you for being here. Thanks for joining me for my first Facebook Live podcast, and there will be more. So if you want more, go to heathernichols.com/podcast, sign up for the list. You'll get notified. You'll get recipes. It'll be yummy.
And like the YouTube channel.
And subscribe to my YouTube channel, please. Woo-hoo. Heather K. Nichols. Please subscribe. That would be an awesome favor you could do me so that I could go live on YouTube as well. So thanks everybody so much for being here. Thank you for you. And we'll see you soon. Bye.